that you would like us to address, again, please feel free to drop it in that Q&A section, and we'll get those taken care of. Most of those will probably be fielded on the behind the scenes for you. Some of them we may share with everyone, so just kind of keep that in mind.
I just dropped a poll too, just to see if anyone's ever used CattleMax before. So if you saw that pop up, that's what that is.
Awesome. Okay. And then are people able to hear us, PJ? Get any kind of response on that?
Yep.
Okay.
I think they can hear us.
All right. Well, first off, just a huge thank you to all of you guys for joining us tonight. I know it is a crazy busy time, and everybody has a lot going on. So you guys carving out time for us to discuss some record keeping tips, it means a lot to us, and we do appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead with the quick introduction here. My name is Jacqueline Lewis. I am here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I was born and raised here. My family owns and operates a commercial cow-calf operation here just north of Cheyenne. We work primarily with Angus cattle, and over the last few years, we've been working hard to grow our herd, which has entailed a lot of record keeping. So about 7 years ago, I think now, we joined CattleMax and started using the software. And about 2.5 years ago, I was fortunate enough to join the CattleMax team, which has been an incredible experience. I've loved working with the customers. I loved working with my teammates are great. And I am very grateful tonight to have my friend and co-worker, Miss PJ Porter, working with me to help present this webinar with you. So I'm actually going to hand it over to her for a couple minutes here to get an introduction out of her.
All right. Thanks, Jacqueline. I'm PJ Porter. I live in central Montana. My family ranch has been here since 1908. So we have kind of a mostly commercial Angus and Angus Hereford herd, and have a few registered Herefords that we keep for our cows to make bulls. So I have been using CattleMax since 2005, and I have been with the team for 7 years. So that's about all I think I have to share with you guys for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and end this poll, and you will go ahead and get going here. And I will let Jacqueline take it from here for a little bit.
Okay, so just a little background on CattleMax here. The company was founded in 1999, and it is headquartered in Bryan or College Station, Texas. All of us working for CattleMax we all begin as customers of CattleMax, of course, and we're all still currently ranchers who still use CattleMax. And our customers are coming to us from over 70 countries around the world. So it's a learning experience to be able to talk and work with all of the customers that call in. So it's thoroughly enjoyable, and we really enjoy it. So,
and it's very interesting to learn different cultures and types of cattle and record keeping from all over the world too. It's so different in different parts of the world than here. So it's interesting to learn all the different types of records that different places keep.
And it definitely varies. You know, there's no cookie cutter in terms of record keeping across that many countries. So very good. Okay, so when we talk about ranch records, the first thing that typically comes to mind for most people is, of course, inventory. People think, well, it's just a matter of getting all the animals together, knowing maybe an ID on them, and just knowing who I have walking around the place. I know when I started with our record keeping, I was schooled pretty quickly on other facets that are involved in keeping accurate records. One being health treatments is huge in record keeping. Also, depending on whether you're running a commercial or a registered herd as well. Under the registered plans, you're going to be looking at a lot of stuff in terms of pedigree. Then in terms of breeding, whether or not you're a natural service breeder, or if you're working with AI, or if you're embryo transfers, all of those involve a lot more detail in terms of what you need to get accurate details out of them and to be able to keep accurate records on them. Other things, also scheduling is big, of course, with AI as well, and embryo transfer. I believe, PJ, do you worked with embryo transfer before? Haven't, I'm sure you have, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, PJ would probably be able to tell you a little bit more in terms of what else you'd need, but those are the basics. It will circle back to also financials that are involved with the animals, and again, with purchasing any kind of products that you need for AI or embryo transfer. There's also the equipment part of record keeping. Some people who are handling their own haying are going to know that there's a lot of things in terms of what they need if they run pivots or the tractors or baling equipment, anything like that. These are all just pieces to a puzzle, you know, to help kind of build the in terms of all of the data that you're entering for your ranch records. So do we have a poll going in for this next one, PJ? I've already forgotten. I think so. Okay, so I don't know. Yep. Okay, the method of record keeping. There you go. You guys want to work on that real quick? We'll just kind of start going through how keeping good records can increase your bottom line there. Learn productive and unproductive cattle. So quick story on this one. I was visiting with a gentleman the other day. He's a neighbor of ours, been in the ranching business his whole life. His dad, of course, was in it. This is a generational operation, and we were visiting about CattleMax and actually record keeping. He's fortunate enough to be able to go out there and really get eyes on his cattle, probably more often than most people. His son is currently running the operation, but he brought up one particular cow that he says, you know, in all of his years, he's looked at her. She's a fantastic looking cow, you know, and just by glance, you would figure, you know, no problem with her, keep her around. And he pulled up her numbers and he started looking, and the weaning weights on her calves just aren't where they needed to be for his operation to be successful. And he said before they really started doing any kind of record keeping, you know, they would probably keep her around and just keep having a calf off of her that just isn't producing where she needed to be. So he's very, very into now watching the numbers and really keeping an eye on everything in terms of the weaning weights of his calves, the health of his dams, the bulls that he's bringing in. So that's a very important aspect of record keeping, is to learn the productive side of it and unproductive side of your animals. Managing pasture activities. This is a newer one, really, we've really updated on the CattleMax side. There's a lot of details that go into range management and managing your pastures. I know for us, you know, we really started paying attention to, you know, how much, you know, salts and minerals that we are putting out for our cattle. I mean, right there is just an expense. Also, any kind of, you know, if you're spraying for anything out there, that is a cost that you need to kind of watch. I know this year a lot of us have suffered through the droughts, and just kind of managing, you know, how the cattle are doing health-wise, maybe off of the pastures. It's been a tough go around, but these are all things that could fall under managing your pastures and kind of keeping notes on what goes on there. Ensuring that your equipment is properly maintained. I am married to he was a heavy equipment mechanic for years before we took over managing the ranch. And I hear this a lot from him in terms of making sure that all of our haying equipment is ready to go when it comes time to hay. I mean, we all know that there's a precious window of time in order to get the hay up, get up good quality hay. And if you're not ready, or if stuff is broken down because you're not tracking anything in terms of your equipment and how it's maintained, you're going to suffer there. So that's another important part of ranch records. And then it always comes back, of course, to tracking your financials for taxes and accounting. I know that falls a lot on my shoulders here. My husband's out doing most of the legwork, so I take care of the taxes and the accounting and stuff like that, the numbers. So being able to track all of that is, of course, important. And then it all comes down to this, though, really is, as passionate as we all might be in running the ranch, and we love it, and, we wouldn't want to be doing anything else. It comes down to the fact that regardless of how much we love doing this, it has to be run like a business, or else it's just not going to make any money. It's just not going to do what it needs to do for you. So right there, the quote says it all. You can't manage what you can't measure. So it is crucial to be able to have the numbers there, the details there, the data there, so that you can really see what's going on in that bigger picture.
I was going to add something else again quickly too about the productive and unproductive cattle. With the way the drought and everything's been here in Montana the last couple of years, we've had to sell a bunch of cows because we haven't had enough hay. And if not for CattleMax and the records that have been on my cows, I would have not had any idea which ones to call. And it was surprising, you just look at your cows and you have your favorites and whatever, but some of those are the ones that need to go, and it's awful, but it's just how you have to do what you need to do when you run a business. So anyways, that was my interjection.
I like it. Okay. Okay, so the cost of ranch, I gotta move this, sorry, record keeping system. So yeah, undoubtedly your time is going to be your biggest investment that you'll make in cattle record keeping. So under money, of course, it is worth investing in some sort of software to be able to manage this. I mean, you'd like to think that, that you're going to remember stuff, but if you're anything like me, that's not going to be the case. I could be in the pasture and think, oh yeah, I'll remember those numbers on those cows. And by the time I'm out of the pasture, I'm off and the numbers are gone. So having that ability to have somewhere to put this all in one place to be able to access this kind of information is worth every penny. Some kind of computer hardware, some kind of way to access it, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I can assure you, I don't have anything fancy when it comes to computer, just because we have a few of them floating around here. But some way to access your software to be able to access your details is super important. As for animal identification, and PJ and I were visiting about this, we're sure what they're referring to here is some way to ID your animals. So that's investing in some kind of ear tag, whether it's a visual ear tag, an EID, some way to know that the information you're putting in is pertaining to one specific animal. Time, again, will be your biggest investment. I can be honest with you, the setup time on just getting your herd in, it's going to take a little bit of effort. It's going to take a little bit of time. And but once you have it in there, once you have it established, the maintenance and the time you're going to save later on is going to be worth every penny. Luckily, in this day and age, there's a lot of ways to get your data into the software much easier in terms of importing from a spreadsheet, or if you're a registered breeder, I mean, there's options to have that interface then with your association. So anything else you can think of on this one, PJ, that I missed?
Nope, I don't think so, Jacqueline. That was perfect.
Good deal. So then, of course, once you got that time into it, you're going to be able to reap the rewards of your good records, which will absolutely make a real difference in benefiting from your record keeping time and effort. So again, the benefits are going to be, once you put that time and energy into the initial setting up of your record keeping, you're going to be able to save time in accessing that data later. You're not going to be flipping through notebooks or digging around trying to find where you put that note on that one animal. You'll be able to just access it, get what you need, and move on, which leads, of course, to better organization. And we all, love to be better organized. It makes us all more efficient. But being humans, sometimes you kind of slip up on that area. But if you have everything where it was, when you first entered it, it doesn't take that long to kind of get your ducks in a row again and get organized once again. And with better organization, you're going to move on to have that quality and accuracy in your records. You're not going to be second guessing yourself in terms of, was that really what I was referring to when I wrote that note? You'll have a place to put that kind of data and access it whenever you need to. A fantastic thing too that I love is it's being understood by others. I think we all wear many hats when it comes to not only running our families and running our ranches. So it's nice to know that you can have somebody else step in if they need to, if you need them to, excuse me, so that they can kind of help you out and they can understand and just pick it up where you left off. I know we have two girls. One is almost 11, the other one's almost 15. They're at that age now where I can just let them know, I need these numbers updated. I need this entered on these animals, and they can, well, they're better at a computer than I am. I'm not going to lie. So they can just pop on and get done what they need to get done for me. And it's a huge, huge help. And then it all comes down to, of course, the better the data, the better the decision making, the more informed your decision making is going to be. So, and you need to make sure that you use it. As this quote says, a record keeping system without reporting and analysis is simply an electronic file cabinet. So, there's no sense putting in all that effort if you're not going to be able to step back and look at what you put in and see that bigger picture and make the better decisions from everything that's involved, whether it's from, the productive state of the animal to the equipments to your pasture management. So we're set on understanding how, here we go, that technology has changed over the years. And here is another poll for you guys. So what type of operation do you have? If you guys can take a few minutes to just kind of fill that in for us, that would be great. This is one of our more popular slides here. I can tell you when I started record keeping, I believe I fell probably between the first two there. I was right there between the past and the 20th century. I was literally digging through ranch trucks to get any kind of notation that might have been made by one of the ranch hands, about an animal. I mean, I was pulling it off of boxes of, the lids off of the LA 300 boxes where they just jot stuff down, scraps of 2x4, anything I could find that had any kind of number reference I took. Then I moved on to, of course, pen and paper is the next logical step. From there, I went on to spreadsheets, and now we do have it established on it's accessed on all of our computers, on our phones, on our tablets. So there's definitely been a nice flow and a great change to record keeping over the years. Where did you fall, PJ? Were you always organized? Probably, huh?
Well, I was kind of the spreadsheet person, but spreadsheets caused confusion with my family, so only I understood them.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. All right. Here's some of the comparison here between the paper, the spreadsheets, and the software. So of course you can see paper is lacking greatly. You can't really back it up. Easily read by others, only if you have great penmanship. Certainly not time saving. You can't export it, you can't import it. There's no compatibility with the equipment. You can't validate anything you're doing, and it's definitely not a flexible choice. Spreadsheets, you have a little bit more in terms of being able to back it up, and some people might be able to read it. Limited with the time saving, and you can export it. Limited, I guess, in exporting it. It just depends on where it might be going. Software checks all those boxes though for you. It's backed up. Of course, people can read it. Time saving, import, export, all of that there is pretty self-explanatory. So you can definitely see the benefits of software in comparison to paper and spreadsheets. So this is probably hands down the one biggest question we get in is just where to start. This can be absolutely the most overwhelming part of it. So the best thing we can tell you is, gather everything. That's what I did. I'll be honest, we probably didn't see our kitchen table for a good 3 months when I first started getting records in for the cattle when we took over. But you get everything together, and the first thing you're going to want to do is worry about just your active animals. I know people always want to worry about the history behind them, past offspring, any kind of health treatments and that. We always say, start with what's breathing, walking around on your place so that you're not ending up spinning your wheels trying to play catch up. Once you have your active animal inventory set, you can go ahead and determine what their statuses are. If you have cows that are of the appropriate age, they're ready to be bred. If the cows are already bred and you need to move on to any kind of preg check information, at least you know where you're standing today in terms of what their current status is. And then you worry about setting up your pastures, adding in any kind of equipment and other inventory that you might have. And it's true, like the best way to do it on the historical side of it in terms of getting all the past records in, wait for that rainy day and then just sit down and start filling it as you go. And I mean, it's the records are there, they're not going anywhere. So you just got to get them added in as you can. But this way you're already caught up in terms of what you have going on today. And I'm going to hand it over here to PJ for a few slides because she is a little bit more knowledgeable in this area. We're just visual ear tag people, so she's going to talk to you about some other stuff.
Okay, so basically, CattleMax is a cloud-based software. Your ranch will have its own URL. Basically, you'll have your own login from any device that's connected to the internet. And you can have as many users on your account as you want, and you can use unlimited devices. So, and that information can be shared based on whatever role you assign the people. You might want someone to just be able to view data. You can assign them that role. Some editors, they can't see any of the financial information, but they can edit animal information. So there's a list of different roles and permissions that can be assigned to whoever you want to use it and how. Accountants really like CattleMax because there's a really good end of the year report that kind of shows cattle loss, purchases, deaths based on whether they were purchased, raised, not. So it kind of helps with your depreciation and all that stuff. You can have multiple owners on there. It shows you can make groups and reports based on multiple ownership. So basically, anytime you're connected to the internet, you could be connected to CattleMax. As far as the electronic ID tags, they just work handy because they're a 15-digit number that you'll never have a duplicate animal with that number. It's basically a second ID for your animals, and it's retained a lot better than a big visual tag is. So it's a good backup form of identification, but it works good for when you're working chute side. If you have an EID reader and you have cows coming through your chute, you can scan the EID. That number pops up and it can already be married to your visual ID. And basically, once you get done at the end of the day, whether you use that spreadsheet and import it directly into CattleMax, but say you're doing preg checks, you can have that information already recorded in your spreadsheet and use the importer in CattleMax, and your data will be there within just a few minutes, whether you work 10 head or 300 head. So the type prices on those tags are anywhere from around $2.35 up to like $4, probably based on what kind of set you might get, because they have matched sets and all that kind of stuff. So, and if you are interested in any of this, feel free to always go to our cattle tag store at cattletags.com. As far as scales go, it kind of goes back to the whole you can't manage what you can't measure thing. So it's hard to know what cows are producing for you if you don't know how they weigh, how their calves weigh, that kind of thing. So we also sell True Test scales. They also work in conjunction, a lot of them, with the EID readers. So you can scan your EID, it'll pop directly into your scale indicator, and that information will be stored on your scale indicator. So I'm also going to pop up a poll here to see how you guys all collect weights, just for curiosity's sakes. I know a lot of people have used scales for years and years, and some are just starting to use them. So it's interesting to see how people enjoy them and how much they take advantage of what the data they get out of them once they start using them. Looks like it's about 50-50 of ones that don't use them as the ones that have used a scale. So, all right. Perfect. So as far as the software itself, it's just basically accessible from any web browser on any device that's connected to the internet. Any ranch that has one head to thousands of head can use it. It really is just dependent on how many records you want to keep and what kind of records you want to keep. Commercial producers, there's a plan for commercial and registered. The registered people can interface with most breed associations. And basically what happens with the breed associations is they will get a herd inventory file to us, and we'll get that imported, or you can import it based on the breed association, and all that data that's been stored at the association for you will be imported directly into CattleMax. So for the registered folks, the historical data is a lot easier because you will gain that from your breed association. The pricing on that starts as low as $8 a month. And if you are ever interested in just checking out the pricings, feel free to go to our CattleMax website and look at the pricing link on there, and you can see all the different pricing listed for different herd sizes and whether you're commercial or registered. So hopefully I didn't rush through that too fast. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'd be happy to answer any of those for you here. See if Jimmy's got any questions for us. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any questions right here. So basically you can contact us anytime, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, Central Time, by email. We'll answer during those hours. We can chat also during those hours, and phone calls too between those hours, 1-800-641-2343. And okay, we do have one question about who you can contact, and there's all of us that work for CattleMax will be there Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We're there via chat, email, or phone. Another question is about feed costs. There's not really a way, since it's not really set up for feedlot type stuff, to track feed costs day to day or animal, basis, but you can record like your feed expenses in the financial section. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Okay, Jenny, what was your question again? John, the EID scanners are all different prices. So if I were you, try to go to cattlescales.com, and they're listed there. And right now we have a deal on the SRS2 EID reader. I think it goes for the rest of this month. And no, you don't have to have a subscription. It will read any EID reader, and it will be compatible with your Bluetooth on your phone and that kind of thing. But go to cattlescales.com and check that out. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us at howdy@cattlemax.com, and we'll help you with that too. Okay, Jacqueline, am I missing anything?
Yeah, we got a question here in terms of no internet access around the ranch, or it's very spotty at the house. You can still, I can tell you from personal experience that, we don't have any kind of internet shoot side. What CattleMax enables us to do is you are able to print reports and worksheets to actually take with you to go ahead and collect your data shoot side if your internet is not, of top quality where you're going. The great thing about that is the fact that CattleMax helps you organize those worksheets in a way that it makes it easier for you once you do have internet to be able to just put that information back into your account. So nothing's worse than getting up there and thinking, oh man, we just ran 250 head and I forgot to get this information off of them. With CattleMax, you can build those worksheets ahead of time and know that you're covering all your bases. While the animals are there, you can get whatever you need off of them, come back, and you're able to enter that information then once you have internet access again. So
And also,
it is possible.
Oh, and sorry, Jacqueline. I was just going to mention our TagMax app. It will also, you can put it on your phone or tablet, and you can use it without internet access. You can enter your visual ID. It will pair to your reader if you want to scan EIDs. Then you can add a weight and then 5 other custom fields as well. And once you get back to service, you can email that CSV spreadsheet file to you and use that for import into CattleMax as well. So that's another option you have. And the TagMax app is in the Google Play Store or the Apple, whatever you call the Apple Store. I don't remember. I'm an Android user. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, how the true test scales are compatible with CattleMax. Basically, they're not compatible with CattleMax in the sense that they talk to each other so much as that the file that the scale outputs, the data that it stores on it, is in a spreadsheet type of file called a CSV file. And that is the format that we use to import into CattleMax. So basically any scale indicator that can output a CSV file, those types of files would be importable into CattleMax. So hopefully that answers your question, Amy. And since there is no, since everyone that does sign up has their own URL for their account, there is not an app required. It's just you have a login and you can always save that, like bookmark it to your home screen or whatever for easy access. I always just leave it open on my phone's browser so I can just click that tab all the time, but there is not an app. So at least not yet anyway. Someday maybe, but not right now. Do you see any more questions, Jacqueline?
Not right now.
Okay.
Another new feature though that we just kicked off in CattleMax though is the spreadsheet import feature, which you can access templates, spreadsheet templates to help get your data imported into CattleMax as well. And all of that is accessible off of our webpage under some help articles. So you can take a look at those templates if it's something you're looking to bring in, such as new animals or breedings or preg check information. I think health treatments, there's a list of them there that are easy enough to download and fill on in. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind.
And also another couple new features we have added in the last little bit too. We have an inventory time machine that can give you a date of inventory based on like a certain date, like FSA for their special programs and stuff. They might want to know how many cows of a certain age you had on a certain date. You can now do that in CattleMax. And you can also now share your data. Like if I sold some of my cows to Jacqueline, I could send my data from my CattleMax account to hers. So that works really nice. So all that exact data from my account goes directly to hers. So, and we are actually having a class. Jacqueline and Jimmy are doing a spreadsheet class on Thursday at 12:15 Central Time. So if you are interested in that and want to check that out, feel free to join us for that as well. Okay, sorry, is it Mija? A URL. So basically, when you sign up for an account, like my ranch name would be pjporter.cattlemax.com. And then I would use my email and a login to log into, that will be my ranch's account address. And so basically, since it's cloud-based, that's how I will log in every time. So that's why there's not an app required. So hopefully that makes a little bit better sense. Okay. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I think we'll let you guys go for the night, but we thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. And again, if you have any questions at all, just let us know. Again, all of our contact information there, or you can visit us at cattlemax.com. There's plans, pricing, resources, help articles, everything that you need will be located there.
Thank you for allowing us to host this tonight, Cattle Women, and we will talk to you soon, hopefully.
Take care.